Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about Paul Blart Mall Cop from 2009. And this was a winner of the Patreon movie review vote. If you would like for me to review a movie of your choice, then click on the link below and pledge, and maybe I'll be reviewing your movie next month. And this movie review vote winner was selected by Austin. For me, I didn't grow up with King of Queens. It sort of happened towards the end of high school for me. I didn't actually look up when it came out, but it was never a thing I watched, basically. It was never a show I was into. I know my brother watched it when I lived in Queens, and he told me, "Oh, is this like how you live?" And I was like, "I'm pretty sure not." That's literally never watched anything with Kevin James. But I did watch this movie. I actually watched it on TV years later, and I actually did quite like it. It was sort of like a guilty pleasure for me. It kind of has a sweetness to it that I think a lot of people, that you don't really get from modern movies, particularly in this era. And I actually really related to it because I think there's a lot of scenes where he's like, I kind of had a rough day. I would like some pie and stuff. And he's like nice about it and, good at his job. He cares too much about like stupid little trivia facts. He's embarrassing. He's a total dork. Basically, this is my Joker. I know for everyone else, Joker was this thing they were related to and stuff. I thought that was weird. But to me, my Joker is Paul Blart Mall Cop. When he's just like, he's got his daughter, he's trying to do the right thing. I didn't have a daughter then, but I was still hardcore related to this silly movie. And also, it's very much direct sweetness. It's totally just a very junky, almost TV movie-ish in its ambitions, I guess. But it really works on that. I think it cares more about you liking the protagonist and liking the movie than any sort of plot or filmmaking or any sort of talent or anything too interesting, to be honest with you. It's so fluffy and light, but in a very sweet way that I think in 2009 we weren't really used to, and it was actually quite a surprise hit at the time, particularly a PG movie, which really didn't happen then. And when I eventually did saw it, I was sort of taken aback by it. I was like, I can't believe I'm enjoying this. And it was a fun movie I'd have a few beers with and get a little emotional. I'm like, yeah, he likes his daughter, man. He's just trying to do a good thing for he's just trying to be a good guy. And it's like, I know it's Die Hard. I know Die Hard's better, but for all the Die Hard ripoffs, I don't think any of them tried to be this sweet as Paul Blart was, and I think that's honestly sort of what endeared me to it. So this movie's about Paul Blart. He's a mall cop who could not become a police officer because of his hypoglycemia. He completely passes out during police training, although he's very good because he needs sugar and so forth. Otherwise, he'll completely collapse. He lives with his mom and his daughter from a marriage that basically the wife left to get a green card. That was it. So he's in this mall trying to do the right thing. He's trying to be a good employee even though no one else cares. There's a girl he likes who runs the wig weave shop, who I mostly know was in Glee at the time. So this is very 2009. Then the mall is kind of sieged by these terrorists who are going to take over the mall, and he has to fight them off and save the hostages, which include the girl he really likes. And he has to kind of fight back and take back the mall that he cares so much about on actually Black Friday, which doesn't play that much into it, but is a plot point, I guess. And, Paul Blart has to do the right thing, save the girl, save the mall, and show how great of a Paul Blart Mall Cop he really is. This is also directed by Steve Carr, who also directed the Jay-Z video Hard Knock Life. He, in fact, did a lot of album covers for Def Jam. If you look at his website, which I'll have linked in the description, actually. He's done a lot of cool music video work, a couple Jay-Z videos. I think he helped design the album cover for Volume 1, the Jay-Z album, I believe. He designed a bunch of album covers. He seems actually like he's done some cool stuff. He also went to the same college I did. I think this is directed in an effective way, but it's not the kind of direction where you'd be like, oh, I can't wait to see what this guy does. If you look at most of his resume, they're kind of like basically like very low budgetly shot kind of comedies, and that's sort of what this is. I think I've seen a few of them. I think I saw Rebound, maybe. I don't remember any of them. This one I remember because I think it's like the best version of that, which is something I think a lot of filmmakers can't do right. So that's something right there. But it's kind of surprising because you see that he's done so much more interesting work in other mediums. And I think that's sort of like what this film, I think, excels at, and probably why this film was such a hit in early 2009, in January 2009 actually, and no one really saw it coming. And looking at the time period now, I mean, this was a big PG hit, which definitely didn't happen then, and it was right after the recession had really hit, the once in a lifetime recession, not the one now, but like the other one in our lifetime that was once in a lifetime in 2008. That was just starting. I think this happened right when Obama won the election. Jesus, Paul Blart. And I think it was a new era. It was the dawn of a new era, and we had Paul Blart. Paul Blart had come up, but I sort of get this movie's success, which it seems like there's a lot of negativity about this movie, which I've never really gotten. But if you look at the time of 2008, like The Dark Knight was huge. I mean, Iron Man started, but that sort of was an outlier, to be honest with you. You had The Dark Knight, you had The Bourne Identity, you had all these dark, gritty kind of action stuff. You had The Hurt Locker came out this year, all this sort of stuff. And that was more of the norm, an R-rated kind of thing. I think how most times work, like someone will do something completely different, which is a fluffy, not an auteur movie at all. Sorry, Steve Carr. Starring Kevin James, not trying to be cool. It's not trying to be cool whatsoever or hip, like at all. Like seriously, like does not give a shit. It just really wants to show you this sweet story of this guy who wants to do the right thing and save this mall. He cares about it, even though for everyone else it's just a job or whatever. And if you think of like people are like losing their jobs, they're seeing all their friends lose their jobs, whole neighborhoods are getting completely vacated because of what was going on with the housing market and everything, and like things are looking dark, and you take your whole family to an all audience movie that you just thought would be like a dumb thing just to do something, and you have a good time, and it's just this sweet light kind of film. I can see why people were so attracted to that. It like makes total sense. There's so much that was going on in the world at the time. It was different from everything else that was going on. It wasn't trying to like make you think or anything like that. It really was completely inoffensive. And if you look at the success of, in pandemic times we've had with like Eurovision getting a lot of acclaim, or Barb and Star and stuff, and you look at Paul Blart did exactly the same thing, really. It was just like the timing that worked out for it. I also think part of it is also the character of Paul Blart in this. He gets into slapstick things, but unlike a lot of the Happy Madison stuff, he's not an asshole. Like Adam Sandler's character is always like a jerk. Like he's sort of a dick, basically. And Kevin James, I think what he did in this is he sort of was like, well, he didn't really subvert it or something. He was like, well, what if I just make it, I'm a nice loving guy, I'm like a mainstream kind of dude, what if I just did that straight down the middle? I think it actually works a lot better. I know they tried like Happy Madison and other stuff, like I think Grandma's Boy happened around the same time, and it seemed like that structure I almost like more not with Adam Sandler in a lot of ways, because you kind of are like, he'll like do his rage things and stuff like that, and Kevin James doesn't do that. And every time he falls down, you can laugh at him, but it's not in a cruel way. It's like, oh, he's such a lovable dork, basically. Like, he's trying to break into the card shop to get a birthday card for the girl he likes. He notices the girl he likes, and most of these are about the girl he likes, I think. Or he drives into the minivan because he can't take his eyes off her. He's not trying to do something creepy. He's not trying to do something weird or mean-spirited or punch down or anything like that. And even when he screws up, I genuinely felt bad for him. And there's a scene where he gets drunk, and he never gets drunk, and he goes like way too far with it. And I could also relate, because like I've also gotten drunk and said way too many trivia facts. So I was like, oh, Paul Blart, I get you so much. I only think it really worked here because it seems like in any other movie they went too far with it. Like I tried to watch The Zookeeper at one point, and like the other ones, it's just like it felt they're trying to manufacture it, and this felt a little more like genuine, like maybe this will work in this movie. And like they're trying to figuring out what a structure of like a Kevin James starring thing should be. I think one of the reasons why that never became anything else is this was like sort of a happy accident in a lot of ways. Like they happily kind of stumbled upon this and used the structure of things. And when they did it other times, like there was more money and more people wanted to be involved. And it's also like sort of less endearing. You're like, oh, you're a thing now. Okay, I didn't see the other ones. Like, I really wasn't interested. But I think this one won my heart. And I understood why it won everyone else's. Because it was like the movie people needed at the time. And I don't know why people got so mad at it, because it seems like absolutely clear to me, even at the time. Like, that's how like everything's going this way. And you have a different kind of movie. And then it succeeds surprisingly. And everyone's like, I hate this. This isn't like what it is now. And you're like, dude, like this is... Like, I don't get how you don't see these things. Anyway, but it's just, it's just a nice little movie. I think the one thing they probably should have done is made a sequel to this in like 2012 and not like 2015. I think they waited way too long for this. I don't know why he wanted to launch like other franchises and things that didn't work out, but this is really, until the YouTube channel, I know the Kevin James thing has become a meme. Hi, Plaxi Oxenwinkle, who's watching this now probably, and is very surprised and happy. I've always liked him for this, because I think even watching now, like I probably don't like it as much. It probably doesn't grab me as much. It's just like, I'm older. I've seen like so many movies in the past decade. I was like not even really reviewing movies at the time this came out, and talking about cinema, engaging with more cinema and stuff, I think has definitely lessened my appreciation of Paul Blart Mall Cop, which is totally a thing that happens when you watch more movies. Sorry guys. So if you really love Paul Blart Mall Cop, just don't watch any more TV at all. It doesn't really hold up. It's not a film you should watch that often, but if it's on TV and you're folding laundry and you want like a nice, sweet, kind of almost TV movie level made film, it's pretty decent at it. I know plot points don't work. I know it has like very 2009 like X game type bandits in it that do like parkour and shit. That is so ridiculous and stupid. And there's so much about this film that is very much of its time, but it's doing it in a very like way that is aggressively almost unhip, but that's sort of what I like about it, because just like, here we are, we have our heart on our sleeve kind of thing. I'm using the mainstream comedy thing. It's not really gross out at all, I don't think. Maybe like one part, and I would barely call that gross out. It's very family friendly and audience when that like just wasn't very cool at all. I get why people are so compelled by it. I get why people hate it, but I think those people are just like almost as obvious as its success feels like its hate was as obvious too. It's just like, it's nice to see, Paul Blart sort of succeed in a Die Hard type scenario. I think everyone thinks like, oh, they'd succeed in like a Die Hard ripoff or just a Die Hard movie or something like that. And it kind of like lives in that fantasy and not a destructive macho way, and just kind of a nice, sweet, like Paul Blart did his job kind of thing. And there's nothing sort of wrong about this kind of a macho fantasy, because it's just sort of a sweet, sort of nice one. And I've always just wanted Paul Blart to sort of succeed, and it just makes me feel good sort of watching it. I don't expect very much from this. It's almost like how I look at a cheap beer horror movie. It's like a cheap beer PG family film, and it does exactly what Paul Blart Mall Cop should do in 2009. Yes, Observe and Report is better. I think, yeah, and yes, I like that movie more in a lot of ways, but I think it's like, I've probably watched Paul Blart Mall Cop more because it's just like that easy, cold pizza, kind of a reliable kind of staple. It's not the high art or anything like that, but for what I want from it, it gives me, and it, makes you feel good. And I think that's probably what they wanted from it. And I think it gave everyone in 2009 what they needed from it. And that's maybe all we really needed from Kevin James cinematically, because he never really was able to achieve much more than this. But, it's kind of fine of a nice little kind movie like Paul Blart Mall Cop. So if you've seen Paul Blart Mall Cop and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to. And this is a winner of the Patreon movie review vote. If you would like for me to review a movie of your choice, then click on the link below and pledge, and maybe I'll be reviewing your movie next month. Thank you very much for watching.